Hello, everyone. We're just in the aftermath of Ida. We had a lot of buildings and trees and wells had to be repaired in this area, and people are just now starting to get back online and electricity and water back. You know, I've been through a lot of storms in my life. This one is from the 1900s, Galveston storm. You notice the storm blew in, it made everything look like matchsticks. It just hit so hard. There was a survivor and a family member who told his story many decades later of how he was a young boy and he remembered up to his death that storm. It was so devastating, it left a scar in his mind. Even though he had Alzheimer's, till the day he died, he could tell the story. And he told how he was in the building as a young boy, and they went up a story and up a story, and the waves came in, and they pounded right through the wall and shattered it. And every time they sucked out people. And they were holding on for dear life onto the posts and beams in the roof of the attic as pieces and walls broke out. You know, when you're through a storm like this and you don't see any bodies, no baby animals, no birds or people, that's not a normal storm. If there are deaths, there are always bodies. He talked about how some of them had to be forced to dig up the bodies and sift through it because in those days it would leave cholera outbreak. And so they had to find the bodies and pull them out to bury them. And this would keep them from getting cholera. So he talked about it and the horror. They had to use gunpoint to make some of these people dig for bodies. It was just so horrifying. The heat and the humidity, decay sets in very fast, and the smell was really bad. So they took all these bodies out and buried them at sea. And a few days later, they washed in on the tide, and they had to go out and bury them again, and this time they weighted them down. The people who say people wash out to sea during a hurricane and are never seen, that's not quite true. They always come back in because it takes a while for a body to sink. And it just doesn't happen overnight. In fact, it doesn't happen for a few days. And so to the day he died, he could remember every single detail of that storm. The brain is a very interesting thing, and all your life it grows. The neurons make connection all your life. It looks rather like a tree, doesn't it? The brain and the brain stem. So it's known that a child borrows their parents' conscience up to the age of 7, but it's provable that parents are your lifelong standard. You mimic behavior and learn behavior all your life, and every time you think of something, a connection is made, and the light bulb goes off. By golly, I got it. And this happens through your life. What happens with some of these people is that they refuse to see. You've seen it before. You want to present facts, and instead they do not want to listen. They want to give you a very skewed set of facts that don't hold any logic. It only holds their flawed opinion because it's based on a brain that literally has holes in their perception. They did not make the connections. They did not make the connections because they did not want to. They did not want to see it. They did not want to know it. And this is a grave error. It leads to a lack of depth of character, which is a flaw of morality. It's also viewed as silent consent for the crimes that are being committed. All of us are linked through a universal mind, and that mind has a mind of its own. And it's from all of our opinions together. And that universal mind can be asked questions from those outside. And if a criminal is thinking of a plot, they can ask, what is that plot? And it will be told. The power of our connection is very strong. And the people on the exit are called the elect, while the people who have committed the crime are very much the damned. To damn means estoppel. In other words, we're all moving forward, but those who are damned are stopped from moving forward. By the same token, if you put things on the internet, or if you talk to large segments of the population, the universal mind also picks that up, and it translates all of that through to its different counterparts, which are the human minds. Our world is actually very small compared to those outside, and you're just a floating dot, a little Tron by comparison. And the reason is that your real body, your incorruptible body, is outside, and only a small part of your mind is inside. That is what incarnated. That is the human you call you. So we need the universal mind to connect up to all the little dots that are the incarnates inside, that are the elect ready to move forward. There's an old story about the elephant and the rope. When the elephant's a baby, they tie it with a chain, and it can't get free. By the time it's an adult, it doesn't know it can get free, and they only need to use a rope. But it's an elephant. It could obviously break that rope anytime it wanted. This is how the entrainment of slavery is. You've got a rope on you, but you're an elephant. You just haven't figured out that that rope can no longer hold you. This is what is happening right now. For the elect, all the devices were removed, your incorruptible bodies were retrieved, but the brain is still conditioned like the elephant on the rope. For some, they're still operating under very conditioned mind control. They have not understood that they are an elephant. In fact, your minds are so powerful that if you're sick here, it translates into your incorruptible body. And they actually have had to work on us many times to correct the problems that were occurring here. For both the East and the West, the elect have been towed in, and their bodies are in a comatose state. You've got monitors around you, and you all have family members around you every day. For some people, they were having a hard time getting their minds to link back up with their incorruptible body. All the usual suspects were checked, and it wasn't those. But they did find different methods of spell casting being used to bind thousands of people, and this was using only their email. And there were exorcisms performed on these people who were bound to free them. You see, the enemy is not going to stop and it has different ways of interfering with your mind and the way you think. I like the way Nine Nania presented it, and from her point of view, from the code she's described in the Bible, they are called filthy dreamers, and they're like parasites attached to you, altering your thought and telling you what to do. And for the elect, we've really shaken off most of that, but the people under control are still a problem. These people have become hardwired to something other than human and other than good. And like sociopaths everywhere, it was done by their own choices. It was recently said that the criminal division has just now started to understand the complete totality of what they've done, and that the weeping and wailing and gnashing of teeth has already begun. Now, for the elect, it's very important you understand you're a ray from above, and we're all connected by a universal mind. And that universal mind is also connected to the people who are not waking up. So collectively, when we think about these things, it filters down through the subconscious knock. Your outside body is in a coma, and you have a monitor, and you have family members all around you. And for their sake, for love of them, you need to think about this. You need to think about the people you miss. You need to think about the people who you know are waiting for you to pass over. They're real. They're solid. They're around your body. And they talk to you. They hold your hand. They're desperately waiting for a sign on the monitors that you're still there. And we need to all think about this, because it is the brain that makes the connection. So you need to think about the monitor and making the monitor ping. Like an EKG, it monitors your brain activity. You need to think about your family and how much you love them. And that love is what restarts everything that you need. Remember, you are powerful. You've been tricked by a rope around your leg, just like the elephant. But you are an elephant, and you're mighty. You can do this. You can make those monitors ping. You can think about your family. That's fine. Think about the people you love the most. And this is what brings you in. You need to spend time each day thinking about this. We used to be taught that the connection to your spirit is in the right side of the brain. And every time you think, you make a neuron grow. And this growth helps us collectively, and it also helps the people who the universal mind will try and contact by the subconscious knock. You must think about it each day, and look how fast these neurons grow. This is over a 2-day period, and each thought makes the neuron grow. So concentrate on it off and on during the day. Think about your incorruptible body. More importantly, think about the people you love, who you know have crossed over before you. Know that they are there. They are watching you. Think about the monitor and how to make the monitor ping for them and register for them. Remember, you're doing this so that they know you're there. And remember, all these neurons, they grow very quickly. The thought is what makes them grow. The right side of the brain is your connection. And this is what is important. You see, all these neurons are growing so fast with all the information you're given. All this information about the crimes and everything that's been committed. But you need to concentrate on your incorruptible body now. All the families, both east and west, have been watching us on the monitor and the things that are going on inside. And they're absolutely horrified. They are really, really upset. And they've been watching what's going on in Australia and the different kinds of brutality that are ongoing in many of these places. Things that we don't even see on the news media, let alone private media. They're all privy to. So a decision was made not to wait for the people who can't make the connection, and the division is on. They are going to move forward now. The way they're going to do the pull is new and different, but at the same time, the protocols remain the same. They've said that the rocks are going to start hitting now. They always give us advanced warning, so please don't try and time it. But I believe what used to be said was that a few rocks would trickle in first and hit, and after a few weeks we'd notice that something wasn't right, and that's when they'd really notice the rocks hanging over us. Now, if you'd like to see those rocks, the Final Days has some really good pictures on her channel of these rocks from the other cams up north. Where we go one, we go all has more than one meaning. We were told that we all left at the same time because that's when they pull the mat. And if one side stayed, they would be destroyed. After they pull us, she rolls over and does the pour. You will have already been pulled out as a beam of light going back to your incorruptible body. However, everything else that was damned goes in the pour and to the pit. Now, before I even had time to finish this video, I heard that the connection problem was solved. But I want you to stop and think about your family members, many of whom have been waiting for your return for 10 plus years. And I want you to take the time to make that monitor ping. Think about them. Think about your love for them. Your elephants, and I know you can do this. I have faith in you, and I know upstairs has faith in you too. I want to say thank you for all the donations and those who have been my friends here for so very long. You really made a difference during and after the hurricane. So thank you very much, and we'll talk again.